Hi to all viewers, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news. We begin right away with our major stories. The Christian community in Cameroon, especially the Catholic Church, joins in the mourning of Martinez Zogo. The Archbishop of the Douala Archdiocese, His Grace Samuel Cleda, says Martinez Zogo was murdered in a similar manner like the Bishop for the Bafia Diocese, the late Bishop of the Bafia Diocese, late Monseigneur Jean-Marie Benoit Bala, and the Archbishop, His Grace Samuel Cleda, questions the credibility of the justice system in Cameroon. And over to Kribi in the Ocean Division, the Bishop of the Kribi Diocese as well offered a mass in honor of Martinez Zogo. Stay with us for details and more. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for being there. We just told you in the headlines that the Christian community, the Catholic Church to be more precise, joins in the mourning of journalist Martinez Zogo, who was murdered and abandoned in Obogo in the central region of the country. His Grace Samuel Cleda, who is the Archbishop of the Douala Archdiocese, says Martinez Zogo was murdered in a similar manner like the late Bishop of the Bafia Diocese, Monseigneur Jean-Marie Benoit Bala. His Grace Samuel Cleda as well questions the credibility of the justice system in Cameroon because even the murderers of the late Bishop of the Bafia Diocese are still on the run.
His Grace Samuel Cleda, Archbishop of the Douala Metropolitan Archdiocese, wonders who is behind all the gruesome murders recorded in Cameroon. Commenting on the murder of journalist Martinez Zogo, he says no one is secured. He recalls how Bishop Marie Benoit Mbala of Bafia was brutally murdered by unknown persons.
The only difference between both of them is that one was killed and his body thrown into the river. Maybe those who killed Martinez Zogo didn't have the idea of throwing his body into a river, so they decided to throw his corpse at the junction.
He highlights the nonchalant nature of the government concerning the case of Martinez Zogo. Immediately he was reported missing.
He was kidnapped in front of a gendarmerie post. Why did the security element not react immediately? They just sat down, and days later they come to tell us that investigations have been launched. Till date, no one has been arrested. Why the sudden silence?
He demands complete light be shed on the circumstances and motivation of the murder of journalist Martinez Zogo, and that those responsible be judged accordingly.
Can you imagine that till date we do not know who killed Bishop Bala? We were told years ago that an investigation has been launched, but no results. Why this silence? I hope the killers will be arrested.
He urges the government to assume the noble task of protecting lives.
And now the Bishop of the Kribi Diocese, His Lordship Damas Zinga Tangana, has presided over a mass in homage of Martinez Zogo for his soul to rest in peace. Monseigneur Damas Zinga Tangana consoled the journalists who were present during that pontifical mass in Kribi. Let's now have more with Mala Glory.
The popular foreign news channel France 24 on the Eye on Africa program report that the death of Martinez Zogo on Sunday 22nd of January 2023 sent shock waves across the country.
What they've done to him is inhumane. He tried to reach the Cameroonian people. He'd criticize the things that are going wrong. He'd say the truth without any covering up. We don't know if it's because of that truth that he's gone, that he was killed.
France 24 says the International Press Institute, a Vienna-based press freedom organization, urged the Cameroonian authorities to promptly investigate the horrific murder and ensure that those responsible are brought to justice. The African News also condemns the death of the 51-year-old Yaoundé-based journalist who tackled cases of corruption, not hesitating to question important personalities by name. How can you leave us in this situation? We have lost interest in the profession.
Pourquoi, se demande le journal L'Avenir, avec en une la photo du journaliste.
David Simon, on its part, exposes a society with several media houses whose journalists are not respected and where press freedom is tempered. The media urged the Cameroon government to carry out a fast investigation and let the results be made public.
Qu'est-il arrivé au journaliste camerounais Martinez Zogo? Par qui?
RFI, on the other hand, worry on the situation of journalists in Cameroon. The Radio France International, a French channel based in France, say Martinez killers must be punished. For Africa 24, Martinez Zogo has been threatened several times, as he was once jailed in 2020 and later released. It goes ahead to add that the journalist has been a victim of hatred. AFB and many other international media houses join their voices to condemn the killing of Martinez Zogo. They call on justice for the death of the media icon.
Viewers, we sincerely apologize for that mix-up out there. That was for our report on international media houses which paid homage to Martinez Zogo. Programs and talk shows were organized out of Cameroon, and the participants said justice must take its course. And now we come back to this oral report in Kribi, where the Bishop of the Kribi Diocese, Monsignor Damas Zinga Atangana, presided over a mass that was in the Kribi Diocese in homage for Martinez Zogo, for his soul to rest in peace. And during that pontifical mass in Kribi, in attendance were also journalists who were consoled by the bishop. Let's now have more with Mala Glory.
All dressed in black, they mourn the death of one of theirs, Martinez Zogo. These are journalists who have turned out in number to pay homage to their slain colleague. Media men and women benefited from a mass service organized to offer end-of-year wishes to His Lordship Damas Zinga Atangana, an event which the parish priest used to pray for the soul of the departed. Media men in our country play a very important role. We all know what happened. It's heartbreaking. Although Cameroon government has signed several international agreements which protect human rights, such as Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 9 says, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention and exile. These media practitioners therefore emphasize on the respect of their rights as journalists.
I am dressed this way in solidarity with my other brothers to call on the awareness of the government, to call on the awareness of the society that despite our wrongs, despite what we can say that is bad, we are media practitioners. No right is given to another fellow man, despite his post in this society, to take off the life of another person.
Despite threats received by journalists on a daily basis, they stress that what happened to Martinez Zogo should not repeat itself.
And traditional rulers of the Leke division of the Central region, that is the division of origin of Martinez Zogo, answered presence today at the site where the mutilated corpse of Martinez was dumped. They say the Leke won't bury a corpse with maggots, hence they want their son to be buried in the village of the head of state who the journalist Martinez Zogo loved so much. And now we talk something else. Activities in prelude of the celebration of this year's Youth Day have been launched in the littoral region that was at the governor's office today. And 2 weeks to the celebration of the 11th of February, youth in Cameroon say they are faced with several difficulties. They say the future is somehow bleak for them. Let's now have more with our reporter Lucille Yengu Esie, who spoke with some youths in the streets of Douala.
In the midst of economic crisis, heightened insecurity, high cost of living, poverty amongst others, youths in the economic capital say being a youth in Cameroon is even more difficult. Aside general problems faced by the nation, the young people say youths have additional problems linked to unemployment.
Some of these challenges which is commonly heard and noticed in the lives of youth is unemployment after maybe studies. They suffer maybe low standard of living because what the economy is facing now, which is really caused an economic breakdown in Cameroon, is affecting the youth population especially.
Within the context of the 57th edition of the National Youth Day, youth say the team has never been effective.
Je pense que choisir le thème seulement n'est pas suffisant.
He says the government has always selected a theme which to him has never been implemented. So he thinks the government is supposed to engage the youths in all sectors of the economy, like agriculture, new technologies. An example of Douala to him, most youths are engaged in bike riding, and a country like Cameroon can't be developed with bike riders, but involving youths in agriculture that can boost the economy.
Je vois qu'on ne peut pas développer un pays comme le Cameroun autour de cette activité.
They think resolving unemployment is vital.
With the problem of unemployment, I think that the government has a very great role to play by creating jobs in building industries and seeing to it that there are some offices which are supposed to be occupied by newly graduate, but yet we find very old age employees still there. So I think that the government has to look into this problem of youth suffering from unemployment by integrating them as fast as possible after their studies.
Others say the continuous increase in taxes has also hindered their progress.
We understand that most of our brothers depend on imported goods, and the customs procedure is not favorable for those importers, which is one of the things that boosts our economy, especially in the economic capital.
The theme of this year's edition is moral, civic, and entrepreneurial remembrance of young people through exaltation of patriotism, creativity, and Cameroonian living together.
And now over to this human interest story in Yaoundé. Family members of the 15-year-old girl say they want justice to be done after their daughter attempted in vain to abort a baby she was carrying. Information we got from Yaoundé has it that she was allegedly impregnated by a very influential personality in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Let's now have more with Babila Jonathan.
Chantal was an orphan. She left the northwest region because of the crisis situation that was there. She came and she was living here with her uncle.
After running away from the crisis in the northwest region of Cameroon, Chantal found herself in a crisis of another type, rape, that led to her death.
Chantal was only 16 years old when she got into this demise, and like the story, she confessed before dying. She said she had a relationship with an older man of about 60 years and above, and they had sex like 4 times. The 3rd time she was actually forced into having sex with him, which got her pregnant. And when she complained to the man that she was pregnant, the man gave her some concoctions, which she took without knowing that it was for an abortion. Now, when she took those drugs, the concoction, she started bleeding, and then the uncle rushed her to the hospital where she suffered some internal organ destructions. The concoction actually touched some of her organs, and she later on died.
The suspect is said to be a civil servant occupying a high position in one of the ministries in Yaoundé. We tried to get his own version of the story to no avail. These activists are on the streets to fight such ills in the society.
Stop rape. We are saying no to rape. We are saying that rapists should be denounced. We are saying that no matter the situation, if we don't denounce it, perpetrators will not be punished. And if we denounce, we are going to be able to get the perpetrators and punish them. We are crying for justice for Chantal.
We don't want to have any other Chantal tomorrow. So we want to plead that justice should take its course and whatever to deter other perpetrators in future from going to commit the same act.
They are urging young girls to avoid such dangerous, destructive, and deadly sexual relationships. For this, The right activists are encouraging young girls and women to identify and shun deception and materialism.
There's so many young girls out there who are being deceived by these big men. They call them big fishes because they think that they have money. These big men, they go to bed with their granddaughters. Sometimes they even use them for sacrifices. Who knows? But we want to deter other young girls from such actions.
A legal team is on the case of Chantal, pursuing a legal action for the perpetrator to be punished according to the law.
And now in Douala, 6 persons have been arrested following a burglary incident which occurred in Dogbong. They are accused of robbing a mobile money shop in Dogbong and making away with a sum of over 1.5 million francs CFA, and an automatic pistol and other arms were found in their possession, as you tell us, Smart Jikan Gabriel.
It was on January 5, 2023 that a group of armed men attacked a money transfer kiosk at the Ndogbong neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision. On that blessed day, the alleged bandits tortured workers of this enterprise, then locked them up before making away with a sum of 1.5 million francs CFA. After a complaint was dropped at the Gendarmerie Brigade, with firm instructions from the commander of the Gendarmerie Legion Office of Littoral, led by Pierre-Aimé Bikele, a manhunt started for these men of the underworld. The investigation, led by Commander Mebwinze Fricks of the Mongo North Gendarmerie Brigade, was able to catch up with Saliu Gaga, an alleged member of the gang. With his interception, his complice, Duguda Haman and Abdurrahman Yuguda, will be later arrested at Nkolmitak and Carrefour Evangelique neighborhoods, respectively. The collaboration by those who were already arrested enabled the security forces to later capture Dauda Umaru and Fabrice Falmosi. The suspected gang leader, Yengbe Atekro, aka Bashiro, was later arrested in Bankomo, Yaoundé Central Region, to bring the number to 6. During the reconstitution of how these suspects operated at the money transfer kiosk in Dogbong, the population wasn't left out, as they curiously watched what was happening. With this group of suspects, the head of the investigation, Commander Mebwinze Fricks, seized an automatic pistol which came from Chad, alongside 3 bullets measuring 9 millimeters, 3 telephones stolen from their victims, 2 daggers, and a commercial motorcycle. The 6 suspects will be transferred to court for justice to take its course.
And now on to the Mongo division of the Littoral region. Still, a young man has been stabbed to death by his friend in a locality called Mbokambo. Our reporters in the Mongo division say the man was stabbed during a fight with one of his friends with whom he was gambling. Security forces have opened investigations and the corpse of the victim is in the mortuary. And now we take you out of our national frontiers. Russia has said the war between Russia and Ukraine might take another level as of now. They see the reactions comes after the US and Germany decided to aid Ukraine in fighting against Russia. Let's now have more with our reporter for me, Armstrong Sander.
The long-awaited decision came after US officials revealed a preliminary agreement to send M1 tanks to Ukraine. President Joe Biden says a total of 31 M1 Abrams battle tanks will be sent to help Kiev break combat stalemate as Russia's invasion enters its 12th month. Biden's announcement reverses months of persistent argument that the tanks were too difficult for Ukrainian troops to operate and maintain. The United States' decision follows Germany's agreeing to send 14 Leopard 2 A6 tanks from its own consignment. Germany had said the Leopards will not be sent to Ukraine unless the United States of America puts its Abrams on the table, not wanting to incur Russia's wrath without the United States similarly committing its own tanks. Joe Biden further said European allies have agreed to send enough tanks to equip 2 Ukrainian battalions, or a total of 62 tanks. Reacting, Russia's ambassador to Germany called the move as extremely dangerous. He says the move will shift the conflict to a new level of confrontations. In Burkina Faso, hundreds gathered in central Ouagadougou on Friday, chanting anti-France slogans and wielding placards calling on the French army to get out. Some set fire on French flags, while others used them to collect rubbish. The protest came as the latest expression of growing anti-French sentiment in the insurgent-hit West African nation.
And in an outing that was yesterday, the French President Emmanuel Macron says the French troops have up to 1 month to leave Burkina Faso. And viewers, we thank you so much for being with us. That was what we put together for you on the news this evening. Don't go away. Your program Equinoxe will be coming up. That would be at 7 p.m. And Julien Beth Bissar will be with you at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.